VBS has come and gone. It's time for rest and more rest and a little bit more after that, but also reflection. And my main reflection was that this was a very faith-filled VBS. We looked at 4 miracles that Jesus did, and we noted that it takes faith to see a miracle and believe that God did those miracles. With this being my first year as a VBS director, I was struggling to keep that faith that God was going to make this VBS into what it needed to be, and was believing that a miracle was going to be needed to survive it. But yet, I saw what it meant to have faith this past week. On day 1, we looked at the story of Jesus turning water into wine, and we learned that God will be there to help us with our needs, big and small, at all times. Talk about the Bible coming to life before me. I needed to remember that God was always with this church and me during this VBS process, that it didn't need to be perfect, no matter how badly I wanted it to be, or this big show, it just needed to be. I added some self-induced pressure to make sure that it was going to be perfect because this was our first in-person VBS in 3 years. And the story was a simple ask from Mary to say, go and help them get more wine, that led Jesus to create the miracle. It was a simple ask from God to say, go and create this VBS. Day 2, we looked at Peter walking on water, and we learned that God is always with us when we're emotional. Big or small, positive or negative, we remembered that God will always be with us at all times. So after day 1, you would have thought my anxieties would go down. No. I think any of the volunteers could tell you that. They were still there. Those anxieties caused confidence shifts and doubting questions that made me believe one of 2 questions. Am I forgetting something? And do I know what I'm doing? And with all those anxieties, I remembered that God was with me. With God's guidance, wisdom, and energy, VBS was sought to the very end. Day 3, we learned the story of Jesus appearing to his disciples after his resurrection. We learned that through Jesus we were guaranteed eternal life, that God had the power to bring things back to life, breaking the cycle of how we know things to be on earth. The life that this VBS brought was astounding, at least. From the kids enjoying the music, more so than I thought, to the engagement in the questions, the crafts, the stories, the energy that was used while playing games, it was insane. I couldn't help walking away from each day of VBS so far feeling motivated. Tired, but motivated. On the final day, we looked at the story of Paul's conversion. We talked about how Paul was constantly moving and sharing the gospel with everyone. This was the perfect story to close our VBS with. At dinner, the VBS celebration dinner, I saw church members talking to the families and building relationships. I saw the love of Christ being reflected in the conversations, the laughs, and the memories that were being made. We were the light of Christ shone into all who were there. It was a long 4 days. It was tiring, physically, mentally, emotionally. Yet, if you asked me today if I would do it all over again, I would say yes. Huh? Would, yeah. I would say yes, as long as you guys give me enough recovery time. But in all seriousness, this year's VBS reminded me that I needed to have faith in what God will do when I might not know how to do it. And I will do what God's called me to do and let God handle the rest.